So then we are back with more understanding from the time of the Second Tabernacle services, where we find in the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Itzaelic lineage, or those from the sons of then Ibrahim, because there is a combination of the first son and the second son, and both of them they make a reference of each other. So let's try to understand then what goes on as far as the situation over there in Korea. Last night there was then, via the shortwave radio station, the Radio Korea International, and they were absolutely very upset because there was a claim the United States then is enticing then military maneuvers to provoke then the North Koreans. It was absolutely ridiculous as far as what we United States are then doing over there. It makes no sense. Why should we provoke them further if we should de-escalate the situation over there so that we can then work on our own economy? And then the reports were very concise last night, and they are not very appeased with the situation. So let's try then form an established understanding in our country that the situation in North Korea should be obviously de-escalated. And there is no reason for military maneuvers in an area where then the enemy, or then what we think as the enemy, then is already wild up because of the situation. So why should we provoke them further? There is no reason for it. So that's the first part of it. The second is obviously is our economy. As we understand, there is truly a system coming this time, and we can't avoid it. There is no way of avoiding it because the system is already coming via the east. So then we should be doing our homework. Not only this, but as far as we can understand, related with freighters. Then lining up our economy with the freighters is a simple reunion with the most important freighting companies at the moment, and then later the other companies as they come up, then they should line up their tracking system with the government's system. So instantly then the government can receive then taxes. Because thus far there is an area of freighting where then freighting is coming for our country, as far as we understand, comes to our country, but then it's not properly taxed. There are many boxes, many parcels, scores and scores of them not properly taxed. You can get parts, for instance, and no charge for tax. So then how can we circumvent this? There is another factor of the situation. When a person is ordering parts from someplace else and it's not properly charged, then taxes. Not only this, but we run into another problem. First then, any person, any individual, if it's a store or individuals, they should be charged tax instantly. But not only the first time they purchase. You should have an understanding of these. As far as parts and description, and then price, and then tax. When either a retailer or an individual is buying a product, then under the same description or part number, if this product then is for resale or for sale a second time, should be charged tax another time. Because what goes on is this. Some people, they are purchasing products for very cheap. For instance, let's say they are buying for 10, the government gets 1, but then it is placed on the market with a markup sometimes of 500%. So the government is not then earning the extra 400%. So then we have to evaluate this, because we came from a nation of background of trade. And at the moment, as we can understand, our government is a monstrosity and can't be sustained, but then we are not working on the basic understanding of trade. So then the normal understanding is either the individual or then retailers. As we understand, the retailers, they have their trade on the line because of what's coming in the near future. So by taxing twice, then a person can purchase for 10, government gets 1. Then if a person decides to have it for a turnaround of, for instance, 500, the government gets another section of taxes related with the 500, no longer with 10. So it's fair, isn't it? And this is what goes on repeatedly. People are getting for, in quote, dirt cheap and turning around and have the product sometimes sold for 500 times more. And the government sometimes don't even get taxed from the first place. And a person might say, oh, what if a person is sending a gift? Should it be taxed anyway, gifted or not? If it's coming to our country, it's because it was purchased. Tax must be gathered. Because we run into a problem. Every time there is a package coming to our country, has to be handled. Somebody has to go outside of the airport. Somebody has to place then the package in a truck. Somebody has to take the package then put it in someplace else. Somebody has to store the packages. These cost money. And it has to be paid for. So for instance, if a person has a gift or not, should have some sort of a information categorized how the government should maintain charging of taxes. At least can break even. But then there are scores and scores of people that are buying for dirt cheap, and they have then the turnaround for 500 more %, and then the government doesn't get a dime. So then, when there is a product, and our government then is in line with the freighters, they must maintain part number, description, price, and then taxation. So when a person receives the same product and turns around, same description, however the price then mark up of 500%, they get taxed a second time. Because maintain the same level of increase of the person then purchasing and having then the item resold. It's simply fair, but our government is not taking advantage of it. They let go as, an open gate of, bisons, runs around with no direction. But then the government to compensate for the lack of discipline in our freighting, then they print out more money, they are cashing our future in it, and we've ended up with nothing. And then those two farts over there in Boston. One scoundrel got then obviously slaughtered because he ended up in a gunfight. And then the other gentleman over there was caught, but then going to the federal prison, only God knows where. And then he's going to the hotel. Get up in the morning, house paid for, and then meals paid for, squares of the day, and then no work. Since he was so near Boston, he should have more than likely had then a boat. After the event, he would get in a boat and sail away and be gone. At least he wouldn't have the expenses of maintaining this person over there in prison for only God knows how many years. And the nation has to pay for it. People sometimes get overly justiced because of, they caught a person. Well, the person is barely 20 years old. Got high-spirited. Do we imagine how much we spent in these security people over there trying to hunt down this person? And then people then go around and they, they're making feasts because, caught, what did they catch? They caught a youngster, not even 20 years old, with a child mind state. Yeah, it was a criminal. What kind of a bomb he used? A pan. Using a stove. The crudest kind of bomb you can ever imagine. Now they are walking around over there and partying around, and as if the nation was then taxing instantly and saving our economy. Was simply another scoundrel. They got caught. Move on. We got to get our economy back in shape. But then our government is not very serious. There are people buying products, not being taxed, coming in, then the boxes must be handled. Then USPS has to handle the box, remove it from the aircraft, placed on the belt, placed in the truck, then goes gasoline, then goes diesel. And then people working in a depot, taking space and then delivering the package, you're not receiving a dime of tax. If you don't say this is stupidity, then you are retarded. There's a lot of handling, time, fuel, and we are not get paid for. When we get freighting straightened out, then we should be partying around, not because of a halfway adult scoundrel over there that got caught because he was using then a pen as a bomb. And we should not do anymore those military exercises in those areas of high tension. The Koreans were then complaining because all Americans are coming around, they are enticing the war. That's what you get on the radio. So let's try to get our economy back in shape. That's the most important. The worst part of a person exploding a bomb is not because of a pen that exploded. Now our whole economy is on the line. So let's try to prioritize a bit and get our economy back in shape, because people are buying products. Sometimes they are not paying taxes, and then they turn around, they had then resold for sometimes 500% more what they paid for, and the government doesn't get taxed the first time, neither the second time. But they have to handle the package, they have to do the transfer, they have to do the storing, they have to do the delivery, and we're going to get paid. That's the problem when you elect a person that is rich because they doesn't know where the money is coming from. When they place a person in power that knows where it's coming from, then a person is more careful when they are then spending so much.